So we had two artists from further afield coming to Seestadt and responding to their experiences here. And our other artist is the wonderful Jenny Marketou. How do I pronounce your name, Jenny? And she is going to come and speak with us. Yeah. And Jenny is from Greece and works internationally. And I'll leave you to take it away, Jenny.
And Yuri to listen to us. So I'm the last one. Maybe you have heard already about my projects. So sorry if I repeat myself. So I'm, as Lee said, I was born in Greece. I live between Greece and New York, where I studied. And I'm very happy to be here, and I want to thank Art from Athens for inviting me, but I want to thank everybody who helped me to do these projects. I have never been in Seestadt before. I found out about Seestadt through my research. So do you want me to start, or do you want?
Yes, I just want, sorry, my first question was, what attracted you to come to this project in the first place? What was it about the Turning the Tide project and Seestadt that attracted you to come?
Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about why it makes sense, why I'm a Seestadt. By the way that I work, my practice is research-based and process-based, which means that I spend a lot of time in doing research and spending a lot of time in being in one place before I start doing projects in this place. So I want to say that through my work I have been traveling, and this has allowed me to work in different contexts, with different people, with different histories, but always I have a methodology which comes with me. And this methodology is, first of all, that I like to collaborate with people that they are not necessarily always part of the art world. I work with marine biologists, I work with activists, I work with environmentalists, I work with kids. I work with very young people because I believe that young people bring another kind of imaginary in the language, in the artistic language. So as I say, I'm a visual artist, interdisciplinary artist. I don't come from the science, but I enjoy very much working with other disciplines, and especially also with communities. Now, I have to say that our theme here has been water. And then I come to your question, why this has been very appealing to me to work here. I want to say that for me, when I talk about water, I see water from a very, very broad aspect. Water for me is politics. Water has agency. Water is something that, as I start exploring more and more, I want to learn from the water. So I start looking into the water not as part of the environment, not as part of the background, but I like to see how the water affects the way we live, the way we learn from the water, and I'm very interested in giving personhood in the water. So it's like the water is talking to us and asking us what it wants us to do in order to be fresh, in order to be wonderful, in order to be clean. And because and how all these non-human beings, that they are part of the water, can survive. So coming to Seestadt was I was very intrigued because in my research, before I came here, I found out that it was in my opinion, it was a fully artificial smart cities. As we know, how many cities right now all over the world are trying to become smart, you know. So for me, it was very interesting to work, because so far I have been working with projects very connected with natural environments, especially with coastal cities. So for me, it was I was intrigued with the idea that I was going to work in a city which the focal point is a man-made lake. So this lake for me was the inspiration, for which I did a lot of research, I must say, before I came here. So the project I proposed before I came here was to intervene with the water of the lake, work with the community. But when I came here, I decided when I got off the subway, and I was struck by this cement environment, when I was looking for nature, wondering how nature will be allowed to come through these already contrived, beautiful spaces. I said, no, I cannot create anything new. I cannot add in this super designed city something else, you know? So right away, I changed my mind. And I started looking, going back to plan B. I started, so I have 3 strands in my project. The first strands, which they all intertwine in my research. The first was, first of all, to meet the community. And the best way for me was to work with kids, with young students. Maybe Bern can tell me the name of the school, because I won't be able to. Actually, they came here yesterday, and they were very disappointed that they couldn't talk, but they couldn't come today. So my first workshop was with the kids, which was, as you see, that's my contribution to the exhibit, with their names. And this was a kind of looking, for me, it was very interesting to see this symbiosis between the young people and their everyday lives and the lake. And how is this symbiosis, how do they relate? But I didn't want to talk about the obvious. I didn't want to talk about the fish. I didn't want to talk about the plants. I didn't want to talk about the flowers. I wanted about the birds. I wanted to talk with them about the invisible and how with them we can start exploring the invisible. So we start talking about the plankton. Plankton is this algae that we don't see, but it is so important in our life, in our oxygen, in our atmosphere, in our sustainability. So we came here, and Peter, who is here, and I want to thank him, who is a biologist, his background, he gave a very beautiful introduction, very scientific introduction to the young kids. We were about 20 kids, about the plankton. And then it comes my turn as the artist, and I say, so guys, now, let's imagine that each of you is a plankton. What would you say to us human beings? What would you like us to do to take care of you? So each one became a plankton. And you see in this big brown paper, each one wrote what they want us as humans to hear from them. And then we did a protest about the rights of the plankton, and then I asked them to create a game. And this is a board game that we create on the floor, in which every origami boat that they made by hand was a plankton, and we were asking, our game was very simple, that we will ask people to walk through the game, but if they step on these boats, they step on the planktons. So we try how we can take care of the plankton. So this is our board game. So that was one of my interactions. The other was, I don't have the boat. There is a boat here, a plastic boat that Bern wanted to show. So I did I was very interested in doing an audio. What for me is it was very interesting. I wanted to embody with the lake, and I'm very interested very much. I have been reading a lot of native poetry, and Beatrice Diaz has been very inspiring to me. When he talks, the body is the water is the body. And in a way, my boat exploration by myself and with Peter, who was rowing this plastic boat, was this embedding myself with the water. So it was more a reflection, was something, but I have done a lot of underwater audios now, which I will do eventually. And my third strand in this project, as you all see, is my decision that I won't do, as I said before, I changed my mind. I didn't want to add something new in this already super, in my opinion, designed city. So through a lot of research and with a lot of help from colleagues from Vienna, which I had worked before, we started doing research. I wanted to bring, I'm very interested, and as you will see from my film there, from other projects, the idea of the vessel, the idea, because it is very important to me, also historically, the relationship that vessels have with water, and especially a vessel that is very connected with the Viennese culture, and especially the river. So I did a lot of interviews. I had the privilege, my friends, to have a car. So I had the privilege to spend several days and several hours along the river, interviewing. And then I found the boat that you will all see. It's 100, as I found out. After a lot of research, actually, the only thing we had was a number that you will see on the boat. So we went and we called the city, because you find out the history of the boats through registration. So we found all the information. So it used to be, this boat was built in 105. It carries the voices of the Austrian army, that they were using this boat to look on the river for explosive after the First World War. Then it became with the fire brigade, and then it became a ferry that was transferring people from one side to the river to the other, till it became fatigued, and I found it in a yard. So this boat for me represents, it was a very symbolic, I would say, gesture to bring in juxtaposition the craft, I would say marine design, marine history, but also a boat which is Zile, and Zile in the Viennese culture is a very important kind of a boat. It's connected with shipping, but it is very connected with the water culture of the river. So somehow bringing this, let's say, it's not nostalgia. I don't want to romanticize, but I feel for me it was very important to bring a dialogue, this very contemporary environment, with something that adds, I would say, not exactly heritage, but brings a lot of questions, wonders, It seems sometimes like the flood brought it and accidentally it put it on the wedge. Is in you know, in dialogue with the lake. It may go into the lake one day, who knows? Maybe another catastrophe may throw it there. My idea was to use the vessel, that's why I call it in the belly of the garden, in the belly of the garden, because my idea was to plant special plants that, especially like sunflowers, mustard seeds, that they clean the water and the environment. But then I thought, as I have been working and listening to people that they come every day and they ask me, I said, no, I'm not going to follow the same design of the city that I predict and what exactly I want to do. So I'm going to let nature also decide. And my plans is, because it's going to be here for a year, to collaborate. I have already started to collaborate with groups from Vienna. And hopefully the school that they helped me build this, they will help me to sustain the boat, sustain the growth of the boat, and eventually we will decide together, or collectively, or on their own, what they would like to grow. And so I would like also to call it the Garden of Knowledge. I hope through the year we will create community, we will create other relationships. I already work with with this group, Artists for Future, with Maria Holter, the curator. I also already is the Ecologists of Care with Elke Kerne, that is a group of women. Actually, it's a big feminist group with women from all over Europe. So we are planning to do also an event, but also I'm open to ideas. So
and now the boat becomes part of the story of Seestadt.
Right.
Thank you for that, Jenny. And we're going to go and see the boat together. But before we go, does anybody have any questions for Jenny?
And yes? Oh, yes.
Yes.
I have a question or a comment input. So if I understand correctly, the primary gesture that forms the basis of the intervention with the vessel, it is a gesture of bringing an object that condenses some sort of a marine or aquatic reality of Vienna into a place in which this aqueous dimension is artificially recreated. So in a sense, it seems that although there is a program inside the vessel with the garden, I would also say that there is a very specific effect of the vessel itself somehow rendering the background it stands upon as strange. It estranges somehow Seestadt itself. Is it a reading that somehow aligns with how you conceived the project?
Right, definitely, because it started by me questioning the city as a structure, and I had a lot of actually discussions with architects from Vienna. I spoke with I spoke with a historian, which is a specialist about marine archaeology, which is related with a river. So for me, that was one of my concerns. And because the city starts from the very beginning, the extreme of Anthropocene, the extreme of anthropocentric intervention, even the man-made. I'm not criticizing whether the city is comfortable, whether people feel very safe. I'm talking as an artist and my relationship, how I create a project, which in a way is not only used to beautify, but also bring some, even I may use the word criticism, I'm taking a position, I'm making a comment about how I feel in relationship to this artificial environment. So for me, that was, of course, a concern and something that I wanted to address. And I want to talk about it, and I want to continue through this year, as I call through this kind of interactions with another community, with other people, with other artists, with other gardeners, with other anything, you know, how it's going to develop. I don't know. And that's the beauty, I think, for me, that I don't know what is going to happen.
Thanks, Jenny.
Nature has so many potential. I want to leave the potential of nature also to grow trees. Already, there are two plants on the boat that they're dying. They don't like the environment. So I'll take them out and see what else I'm going to do.
Thanks, Jenny. Any more questions for Jenny before we go out and see the boat? Anyone? No? Okay, so we're going to go, and Bernd, are you going to lead us, or how does this work? Thank you. Thank you, Jenny.
Yes, I mean, what I want to say, I want to thank, the list of thanks will take me an afternoon to do this project. I have to thank Peter, I want to thank Bernd, I want to thank everybody of this new community that I met, of you guys that came from also the other countries. I want to thank also the artists I met, Camilla, you, I mean, I admire their beautiful skills to create these amazing maps, learning from Camilla about all these species. It has been a very wonderful experience watching your piece also happening next to mine, learning about the other artist who just left, about his container. So it has been an incredible also experience of exchange, of learning from each other, hopefully, and it will be a great something to remember. I'll miss you all, actually. And I drove you crazy, I know, Bernd, but that's okay. You will forgive me.